Those who haven't been in all the other events, I'll just announce my name is Daniel Ciraldo. I'm the Executive Director of the Miami Design Preservation League. I do want to call out a special guest who's talking later today, but we must recognize him. Andrew Kappman, if you could just say hello. Welcome, Andrew. He'll be coming on after this panel and talk about his mother and his work here in South Beach. So we're really excited for today's lectures. So my apologies because Jack Johnson, our chair, was supposed to moderate this, but he's been a little under the weather, so he asked me last minute to do so. So I will try to do my best. Today's topic is strategies for creating and sustaining Art Deco societies. So if I can have the panelists come join us here at the table, and we'll introduce them shortly. I wanted to talk a little bit about MDPL because I realize in all of this, all these events, we haven't necessarily talked about what we do at MDPL as an organization. Many of you know we were the first Art Deco society, but now there's, I believe, 27 chapters around the world, and that's a testament really to Barbara's legacy and many of the folks in this room, and Roberta is doing a great job leading the international coalition that we have now. So it's a very exciting time to have you all here. So this is our website, and we try to keep a lot of information on our website to keep the public in the loop. And so I just wanted to show, in case you all haven't seen this yet, we have a pretty active blog, and we're lucky to have now a staff writer who writes articles about what's going on in the Art Deco district at cultural events and cultural institutions around the city. And we try to keep this blog up to date to keep our membership and stakeholders in the loop on what's going on. So you'll see here, right on our homepage, which is mdpl.org, we have the latest blog articles. So just in the last couple of weeks, you're all famous now. You're in our latest article about the kickoff reception. Was that yesterday? I'm losing track of the dates. Okay. And then obviously I think you've all heard about this threatening bill at the state legislature. So we did a press release there on April 17th to all of the Florida news organizations, radio stations, TV channels, magazines, and newspapers. And a friend of mine called me while I was in Tallahassee. He said, "Oh, I heard on 97.3 that there's a bad bill." So it's good to know that, you know, this outreach works. And it's important, I think, and I would hope that all the groups agree too, I know they do, that we have to continue to communicate and to be out there, because that is how we keep and we protect Art Deco. Welcome, take a seat. And then another thing that we recently did, started a couple of years ago, was we realized that, you know, our advocacy was somewhat limited as far as the number of people that were involved in reviewing projects, and because it's a lot to do. You know, you've got to review all the plans, you've got to meet with the building owners, and you've got to spend a lot of time on that. So what we thought is, why not go and put all of our positions online and you know, let folks know what we're working on, give them a way to communicate with us. And something we did very recently, because once we started doing this, showing our positions, then folks started saying, well, why don't you share it sooner so that we have more time? So, you know, it's funny because you add one feature and then folks want more, but that's good because there's a lot of passion. So what we decided to do was we have another series of articles called Agenda Previews, where we'll let the public know, here is what is on the agenda, and you can click here if you want to read it. And thankfully with the internet, most everything is online, and we personally had advocated to our city government to make everything available online, because we know that making it digital is going to be a lot more effective for all of our stakeholders to see than what they used to do. We used to have to go to City Hall and pull the papers, which is, you know, a lot more onerous. So through that, we've really been able to expand our reach to many different constituents, and also, frankly, a lot of people that live outside of Miami Beach that otherwise wouldn't be able to keep in the loop on what's going on. For those who are interested, we also added a new feature recently where you can receive an email whenever there's a new blog post. And all you have to do that is on our website, you'll see this form, you put your name and email, and you'll then be added to our list. So anytime there's a new post, I'd say we've been doing maybe 6 to 10 a month, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they're all relevant and interesting to the topics at hand. I think by now you've all been to the Art Deco gift shop, which just a couple of years ago was completely renovated. Sadly, one of our great staff members, Jim Offit, he passed away just in the last year, but before he did, he had come to MDPL. He was a retail expert who had retired in Miami Beach. He wanted to help us redo the gift shop, and that was really his last big effort in life. And those of you who had been to the gift shop a few years back probably can tell the difference. It's been totally refreshed and upgraded with new merchandising, including a beautiful mural on one wall inspired by the pastel color palettes of our co-founder Leonard Horowitz. So, everything that we do has obviously passion behind it because so many of our stakeholders and supporters are volunteers as well as our staff. So here we thought it'd be interesting to keep the website kind of new and fresh to just show which are the posts that are trending. So for some reason, a lot of folks are looking at our positions on November 9th, 2021. Oops, I hope we didn't do anything wrong. No, just kidding. And then we also had an interview with Richard Haas, who had done the Fontainebleau mural. It was sadly knocked down in, I think, 2002. But I remember as a kid growing up here, going and seeing that mural and thinking, wow, that's so cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't designated historic. But we still remember, even things that we lose, we need to remember and remind people how we lost them, also so that we don't lose them again. I also wanted to show you something very special, which probably should be more of a larger part of the home page, which is our archives. And we were very lucky that Andrew and his family, after Barbara passed, gave us Barbara's archives. And so they had been in physical storage for a very long time, but through grants and grit, we have began to digitize them. And as of today, we actually have, if you go on our archives, this link here, that says, now online, the Barbara Kaplan Archives, you can access a selection of files directly on our Dropbox. So all you have to do is go right here, and you'll see we put about 500 documents of interest there now. There's probably 50,000, but one step at a time. And so this is a very useful tool, especially for researchers and institutions to learn about what's going on. So I'll just open a sample. This one is marked as box 54. So, and it's always fun to see what folks are doing. So here is a headline from the Miami Beach Post, 1988. I think I was 5 years old. And they say, the Deco Festival livens a weekend. So here again, we have examples of the good work that our predecessors did, and we're able to demonstrate sort of the long-term resilience of our organization. So that's always a lot of fun. It's also fun that in the very near future, we'll have a search capability where you'll be able to go type something and find it. So some of the folks who have been on the board in the past or have been part of the movement will show up in there. So it's not just an archive for Barbara, but for MDPL and all the people that make an impact. So let me just get back here, and I'm almost finished. All right. We do have grants from the state of Florida. This is their old logo. They just changed their logo. I kind of like this one better, but we'll edit that part out. Let's see. And then we have archive articles too. So we have the blog, but also archive articles. So I'll give you an example. This was a home that was demolished on Sunset Island, number 3. And a neighbor saw it being knocked down and asked if we would like to take the gate of the house. So this is an old photo. So I went into the research and found through some sources the Miami-Dade records of the house. This photo, I think, was from like 1950 something, and it's a little hard to see here, but does anyone recognize that gate? All right, I'll spoil it, but the gate is now in the museum. So when you go there next, and when you were sitting waiting for the lecture, and we're going to fix that projector, there's a big blue gate, and that is from this house. And so it looks a lot better in person in the museum, but it's just another example of our outreach and our efforts. And, you know, honestly, when the person called me up and said, do you want this gate? It's, you know, 500 to 1,000 pounds. Can you pick it up today? I said, sure. So, and a little anecdote on that is that we obviously were not, you know, the most strong folks here, maybe mentally and persistent-wise, but not always physically. So luckily the ocean rescue lifeguards are right behind us. So Sarah Ledick, who's been driving our golf cart, she was able to get the gate into her pickup truck and then brought it to us, and I called the lifeguards. They said, you guys, could you help? And 10 lifeguards showed up to help us bring the gate into the museum. It's probably not going anywhere for a while after that. But through all of these activities, all of them are great, but if folks don't know about them, then, you know, it's kind of, the impact is minimized. So that is why we have really taken a strategy of growing digitally and keeping people in the loop. Here was a sad thing with the Deauville that was imploded. But of course, just like what happened with the senator that I had read about as a child, you know, they photographed it, and we still see the photographs. So I thought, let's have Brandon do a drone of the implosion. So this is sort of our senator, you know, our moment of sadness, and now drones, kind of the visual is very impactful. So, and you know, the dramatic music as well to take the point home. So I hope that for those of you who haven't been on the blog, that you will, or the website, that you'll join. And is that everything we do? Oh, we try to remember folks that have passed, and you know, if you have a family member that has passed, it was part of, you know, MDPL or Art Deco, let us know. We lost some good people in the last few years. Let's see. Oh, one last thing, and this is also relatively recently, but we decided there's so many cultural institutions in Miami Beach, the cultural anchors that the mayor was talking about, that, and our mission is protect, preserve, and promote. That we thought we weren't doing enough to promote the cultural institutions, so we decided to create an events calendar. And what the idea is that we track the different institutions and what they're doing. And we have a resource like today. Look, you could go and get a lecture pass for the World Congress. And so, but not just that, you could see the Christo drawings at the Prez Museum. There's yoga at the Garden. There's a jazz quartet. Or I think you guys are seeing that tomorrow. So our friend Stuart Reed also does yoga. You could probably tell a lot of people do yoga here. But the idea is to continue growing on that, to ensure that we have all the exhibits at all the different museums as a central resource, and to kind of bring back the message that we're here to promote other cultural institutions and keep the vision strong that Barbara and others had, that this would be a place people from all over the world come and enjoy, and a center of arts and culture. And to the extent we're able to do that, you know, it's our pleasure. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce, we have Atul, Kumar, Roberta, Nusim, and Sharon Koskoff. Let's give them a round of applause. And Jack asked me not to read everyone's bios, so I gotta listen. So, but they are in your packets. But I think we were gonna start with, you know, each of you talking about your roles in different Art Deco societies. And so, Atul, if you'd like to begin, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Atul Kumar, and I'm the founder of the Art Deco Society in Mumbai. I'm graduating
Do you want to try here? Let's try this. This might be better. And just really project.
Is this better? Yeah. Oh, sorry. So I'm listening to Atul Kumar,
Just
the
turn
Art Deco Mumbai
it's to turn yours on.
which was India's first Art Deco society set up in 2017. And the topic for today's discussion encourages me to talk about the considerable success we've had. And I think that's reflected by the fact that we now have Art Deco societies that have come up in Delhi, Goa, and Kolkata. For those of you who know a little bit about India, these are all very big cities. And one of the things that we now do is run a mentoring program for these young societies to be able to give them ideas on how to sustain themselves. And of course, Roberta will talk to you about the cats initiatives and how we support new societies through Friends of Deco and also through becoming a member of Black Cats itself. I would, in essence, I think describe the success of our society based on communicating to a younger audience in an extremely friendly and accessible manner. And we are lucky to have digital tools today which were not available 5 years ago or not as prevalent. And that has enabled everybody to have access to what we do. And because we present it in such a simple, engaging, and powerful manner, we find we have a very, very young audience. 55% of our followers and fans are between the age group of 25 to 44. And that's very encouraging and enthusiastic because they were all born post 1940 to 1950. They have no idea what we're really talking about, the time period. Typically, it's stuff that's dated, as they would call it. But that to tell you that they actually think it's very cool. And they say, wow, this is so trendy and it's so modern. It's so kind of timeless. And that's when they get deeper into it and discover, it goes back to the 30s and the 20s. Roberta, would you like to share?
I am Roberta Nusim, president of the Art Deco Society of New York. I've been president for the last decade. Involved with the society for about 20 years. And New York owes its debt, its origin debt to Barbara Kaufman. We know that when she saw what was happening here, she came to cities like New York, and she alerted us. So we are now about 40 years old, and we hope to continue to grow our audiences. Today we have about 600 active members, and we offer a variety of programs each year. We've reached out to younger audiences as well with a school program that we call Art Deco. And our goal there is to reach out to young people in high schools, middle schools, and acquaint them with the gems in their own neighborhoods. We've also started doing a program called Telling the Art Deco Stories of Our Neighborhoods. And with that program, we actually, about 20 minutes ago, we started our walking tour of Astoria this afternoon in Queens, because we know that there are great Art Deco icons that we all know about in Manhattan, but there are gems in all the boroughs. So we remain active, and we admire the fact that Atul is able to attract younger audiences. It's one of the challenges that we have. And we're doing our best now to reach out to get to the next generation of people who will be preserving and protecting New York's great legacy. In terms of iPads, and we are thrilled to be members of the iPads board, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've done in the 18 months. 18 months really gone by. One of the things I hope that you've all had a chance to see is our website. Atul was responsible for putting together a wonderful website that showcases each of the member societies, and is also a place where we have a calendar where each of the societies has an opportunity to list their upcoming events. So hopefully it will be a global guide to you so that when you travel you will know what's coming up in various places. We also have on the website a preservation alert page so that we can all help each other. So that when there's a building in danger in your area, let us know about it and we can mobilize the forces of all of the societies to help you. It was particularly useful in New York when the world of the story was threatened with basically, I guess about 6 years ago, a gun renovation. And through mobilizing people around the world, we had over 5,000 letters and signatures. And it really made a difference when we went to the Landmark Preservation Commission. Because in New York, unfortunately, we don't have the same support that you do in Miami in terms of preservation. So it's always a challenge for us. So working together as a group really helps to create awareness. So please use our website, check our website, upcoming events, and certainly if you need help in preservation, we're there to help you. We also have started several other initiatives because technology has allowed us not only to meet every 2 years as we've been doing as an organization, but we can meet periodically. So ICAS has first of all started a digital newsletter that goes out quarterly that we hope that you're seeing. And also Art Deco dialogues. This is really us very significant because every 3 months on a different specific topic, we invite the heads of all of the ICAS societies to join together to discuss the challenges. We just headed one up a couple weeks ago on preservation. We did one on event planning, and we're always interested in future suggestions. So we appreciate your being here, and we appreciate, as a board, the participation we've had from many of you. We're open to your suggestions. We want to be a vital organization that serves the needs of each of the societies. And we have someone who's going to serve the needs of the societies. Sharon.
Thank you, Roberta, our president of ICAS, International. Mumbai to be present. Thank you. To be fighting our governor in Tallahassee to save ordinances that are already in place. Thank you. And I want to welcome everyone to Florida. It's the first time you've been here. I apologize for the heat. I'm Sharon Koskoff. I'm in Florida since December '85. I was a member of the New York Art Deco Society before I came here. And I came and everyone said, if you love Art Deco, you have to meet this lady, Barbara Bayer Catholic. I was 32, she was 65, and I'm like, okay. Well, I called her up, and she says, send me $25 dues and I'll talk to you. And I did, and she said, come on down, and she said, Sharon Koskoff, you will start the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches. And I'm like, what? You know, I went to cocktail parties, and I knew the Empire State Building. I didn't know Art Deco. I had to go and discover all the Art Deco in the Palm Beaches. And it is few and far between. It's not like Miami, we have the largest historic concentration of Art Deco in the world. Although Mumbai is very close. So this is such a wonderful trip for me to even come to Miami, because I live in a little over an hour away, the traffic is terrible, and Art Deco everywhere, I don't have to look for it. In the Palm Beaches, we have to look as few and far between. But I'm a mural artist, I'm an arts activist, and for those of you who are coming to the post-Congress, here's our program, and if you're not coming, I still have the future programs if you didn't get them. We also have a book, Art Deco in the Palm Beaches, for sale, and I am a mural artist, and murals of the Palm Beaches. I have both, they're 2 for $45 or $25 each. And if you can't make it to the Palm Beaches, there was the book. It's amazing because this topic is sustaining an Art Deco society. For 37 years, I've been the president of the Art Deco Society. How do you do that? We are seasonal. Most of our people in Florida, up in the Palm Beaches, are what we call snowbirds. So they live in Minnesota, and they live in New York, and they live in Boston. They live far away, and they come and spend the winters here, so they're called snowbirds. And actually, traffic is lighter now because they all left kind of after Easter and Passover. So right now, it's like our off season where things are quiet. We have two special guests in the audience, Tim and Janet. Where are you? They are strong members of the Art Deco Society for the longest time. And we have Sharon who's a volunteer, also here today, who are working with our modernism, Florida's hidden treasures. In Palm Beaches, it's hidden. But when I found out to discover our Art Deco, it's the strangest thing. It was arts buildings. I'm an artist, and our arts buildings, the North Museum of Art, the Lake Worth Playhouse, the Cultural Council building, all these arts institutions, the Armory Art Center, are working in historic, preserved Art Deco buildings. So our tour will be about, I have all these art exhibits where we involve the community, the paint, architecture, and all these wonderful things where we're doing art and architecture. The North Museum of Art is our highlight, which has the whole mansion of sculptures. Who did the Prometheus down in the Rockefeller Center? Well, we have two in Palm Beach County. Diana and Active, whole mansion sculptures, and we're going to be visiting the North Museum of Art. Well, they could be having anything right now, right? They could be having an Italian Renaissance exhibit, but they're having modernism exhibits just for us. Two modernism exhibits, so we're going to see how the society and how social aspect, what are artists doing during Art Deco, not just the designers and the architects. We get to see the evolution. We're also going to be getting to see mid-century modern. And you've probably been hearing a lot about that if you visited the pre-conference with Daniel and Jack. They took you to see Bach Tower, they took you to see Florida State College, it was Frank Lloyd Wright, and they took you to see the Maitland Historic Museum, which is mid-century modern. And we were talking with Steve Knight, who's also on our board, and Rita is here on our board, and Pascal couldn't make it, his mom died. Jack is not here. But this mid-century modern is the newest thing that we have to worry about and preserve. It's a direct sister to Art Deco. It's what Art Deco influenced. It's not a revolt. Like, Art Deco was a revolt against Art Nouveau, feminine, flowery, and organic, where we had Art Deco as geometric and masculine and strong. But mid-century modern is how Art Deco influenced the rest of the world. So you're going to learn a lot when you come on the tour. We're going to see you on our post-congress, and I will leave it back to Dan. Thank you.
All right, so Jack sent me a list of things that I'm trying to find in my book. Of course, I didn't find it, so I'm going to wing it a little bit. But as far as the topic of sustaining our type of societies, I guess my question is, what are some strategies that, or challenges, maybe start with challenges that will happen, and maybe the question is, where would you see your society in 50 years on you?
For 15 years is but I think essentially we have to make sure that our society is institutionalized. So if it has an independent corpus, it has a team of professionals who work there and can sustain the work that we're doing. That would be my dream outcome for where we started 6 years ago. The challenges, of course, are mainly principally funding. I think that's probably true for all of us. Anybody in the preservation and heritage space knows what a challenge that is. And COVID has upended all the matrices and made it, allocations for health and other associated topics have gone up dramatically. And I do think that art and culture and language has suffered. Having said that, we're really, I think, in a very high growth trajectory because people have suddenly discovered Mumbai, and not just Mumbai having probably the second largest collection of buildings in the world, but also a lot of the other metro cities, the style is all prevalent across the country. And that's been a tremendous discovery, not only for people living in India, but also from all over the world. And I would encourage you to visit the ITAC website and see the members page, because you will see on every continent how many societies. Sure, it's Art Deco. And we'll be delighted to see how many societies there are across the world. So, Roberta, I don't know, do you know how many there are now?
25 active societies.
25 active societies, and we're actively building a Friends of IPS group. Those are organizations that are not quite ready to become full societies, but want mentorship opportunities so that we can help them grow into societies. And I know that we have one coming society that's going to be announced, I hope this week, a new society. So we're hoping that we can grow iPads and help to mentor new organizations around the world. We are constantly learning, being contacted by organizations that are in the preservation area and are sharing with us their challenges. So we really do hope that we can help to sustain them. Many of you know Robin Rowe, who's usually at these conferences from Melbourne, and he heads up our Friends of ICAS group, and the goal there is to mentor those organizations.
Where will your society, what is the vision of your society in 50 years after that succession?
Right. What is my society in the future? Well, our biggest obstacle was COVID. COVID was very, very hard. Our biggest obstacle was COVID, as it really affected all of our lives personally. We're still wearing masks. We're still worried. I know people that still have COVID right now at this moment. And that was a real obstacle. So we're kind of rebuilding our audiences again and our membership. But in the future, we have laid the groundwork. This Congress actually will cause enough publicity and attention to these architectural buildings, because even the buildings themselves are so busy planning museums and being who they are, they don't always have time for preservation. You could go where you live, if there is no Art Deco society, and speak to the historical societies and make them aware of, make sure they're preserving their Art Deco heritage, their modernism heritage. They're also busy, doing everything, everything gets lost. So you can go to your own historic societies and, no one here is protecting Fort Lauderdale. Margaret Kaplan said to me, Sharon, I want you to do Fort Lauderdale and the Palm Beaches. And I'm like, I think the Palm Beaches is enough. So we have a lot of Art Deco in Fort Lauderdale. I've given tours down Los Olas Boulevard, but no one is there protecting. Now, I'd like to also mention Louise Irvine is in the audience, and she is the executive director of WMODA, Wiener Design. The Wiener Museum of Decorative Arts, WMODA. I brought her flyers, WMODA.org, and she is highlighting, it's like a Wolfsonian of all glass and ceramic Art Deco, Art Nouveau, glass and vintage artifacts. So she can come to Fort Lauderdale because her museum is moving to Hollywood. And how lucky are we to make all these connections? It's all about connections. Connecting schools, connecting historic societies, connecting governments. In Delray Beach, the mayor just shut down Old School Square. They had a 100-year lease in a historic building, and they said, "Oh, we don't want you to be there anymore, we're taking over." So we have to watch our governance, and we have to support art and education and historic preservation.
And I think that's only done with organizations like iPads and like all of your organizations, because you're in the forefront of creating awareness. We're reaching out to underserved communities in the 5 boroughs. We all know about New York icons, but there is so much more richness in many communities, and we feel that we need to really activate those communities as well. When you talk about 50 years, hopefully people will look at Art Deco in New York at least and see that it's much more than just the icons, but that it really has affected the lives of everyone and enriched the lives throughout the city. So that's a real challenge that we'll
Well, thank you all. It's inspiring for me too, because I'm also thinking of 50 years and our organization. I think to what Atul mentioned, the importance of having an institution and having funding and having professional staff is so critical because, we're always kind of up against David and Goliath. And so volunteers are amazing, but can only do so much, especially when it comes to having to file lawsuits or, working with the press or with lawmakers, and et cetera. So I think one important goal that ICANNs can have is to help support funding of these groups to allow them to survive and thrive down the road. And you all are the early icons still, because I honestly look at Art Deco as something that hopefully in 500 years people still admire. And so, this is pretty cutting edge, I think, what we're doing, if we are able to continue, preserving them, which we all have challenged with in our communities. Another thing I want to mention is that I think having battle is often when people come and get involved. And so, to the extent that we do have that legislation in Tallahassee, I think it's an opportunity to link up with other groups throughout the state. And that's something we've been doing over the past, 5 weeks since we learned about the bill. And it's a way to get renewed interest in the effort and hopefully fundraise, etc. So it's never ending what ICAS does and what the individual Art Deco societies do. So I know DPL is thankful for that, and actually Sharon mentioned something about how her city, they don't support big Art Deco as much as our city does. But I would actually use that as an opportunity. I would go to the legislators and say, Miami Beach just got $3 million. They're building, they're not giving us chunky. And feel free to use us, and hopefully, the benchmark up, because we need to show these municipalities that Art Deco and preservation is good for their bottom line too, not just things like quality of life and experience of living in the community with heritage, but also the visitors that it brings and the impact to so many aspects of our lives. So, Roberta, I'll be calling you here and see how much New York City gave you. If you didn't get any money, maybe I'll take a trip up and we'll go together to City Hall and see what we can do. I think eternal optimism is something we all share. So, I'm not the only one that's probably told all the time, oh, you're never going to win that. Don't even bother. But there's something that you all have that's inspired me, and I know the people in this room to really continue fighting. So thank you for all that you're doing.
I have something to say. I went to the last World Congress in Buenos Aires, 2019, and that's where I met Jack Johnson. I didn't know that Miami people went here from a long time ago, but we had connected with the new Miami people. Even though I was bringing a bus trip down for 35 years, I put all kinds of groups down. We toured Miami, and we go to the Jewish Memorial, Holocaust Memorial. So the networking, I met Jack Johnson in Buenos Aires. And that's wonderful. We're all connected here, and we hope that you bring a bus trip up to us next time. But again, COVID, I didn't run a bus trip for 3 years. You kind of lose your audience. So we're really rebuilding. We all are wonderful that we get to visit each other, even if you couldn't come to the World Congress. Maybe go to New York. New York is going to California. As long as we keep connecting with each other, and we're all looking forward to ICANNs in Paris, 100-year anniversary. 1925 exposition will be 100 years in 2 years, 2 short years. Paris, Pascal is busy planning 100-year anniversary of Art Deco. That will be wonderful. I hope to see you all there. That'll be so wonderful.
All right, well, let's give our panelists a round of applause. Before we take a quick break for the next speaker, did anyone have questions for the panelists? Yes.
What have you done to encourage the participation and attraction of young people to Art Deco? And Roberta has mentioned the school program, but people who are young professionals, to encourage them to join your organization and make the organization appealing to them.
Okay, I'll just repeat after the video and Mr. Pink here. What have you done to encourage young people to be engaged, working professionals, etc., in the organizations?
In New York, we're reaching out to universities that have programs in the arts and in architecture, and we offer special programs and special discounts for their members, for their students to start to attend our events. In fact, today is one of those examples where we have a free walking tour where we really promoted it through the university so that we get to get young people to become more active.
I think we've embraced all the digital means that users have access to them. We find that's a much easier, faster way of communicating with them. They don't have the time to read as much as we do. They like visual engagement, they like videos, and we focus on using those mediums and having a lot of success. So I would encourage everybody else to try that too. We have to speak the language of the time in the medium that they like. We may have our personal opinions about it, but the fact is that's how we get them. So
Yeah, if Sharon wants to, then we'll go to
Well, in Florida, we have a few problems. First of all, we're known for our seniors, and now I'm one, right? So, how do we reach out to the younger audiences? Well, we do a lot of education, meaning public speaking, lectures, going around places. We get a lot of publicity and articles where young people read and reach out to us. But we also have competition. You know, we get an article and it says, oh, Art Deco in the Palm Beaches. Even a reporter might say to me, I thought all the Art Deco was in Miami. There's this constant education, constant promotion, constant publicity. We do very well. We've had television shows on Channel 20, Palm Beach County TV. We did 6 that's called Inside History, where they highlighted Art Deco buildings and highlighted our education, things to look for in Art Deco architecture, all of these things that are fun and educational and architectural and things that you pass every day. But it's very hard to reach out to the younger audience, the cool survivors. We've had Deco dialogues on cool takeover succession. So it's a constant thing. And again, COVID didn't help us any, but we are reaching out to young people all the time.
I do want to give some hope because, just like Sharon and Barbara, when she was in her 30s, I met others like Nancy Liebman and Betty Bauer, etc., in my 20s. But so, I think one idea is that, maybe take on a mentor. And when you find somebody or when you read an article in the newspaper, like there's a fellow in Okalaka, Alex, who just on his own, younger than me, I'm 39, but he, I think, is younger. He just decided, I love Okalaka, I live there, I'm going to help save it. So those are the sort of people that you read an article, you pick up the phone and call them and bring them into the fold, because sometimes I used to think back in the day, it wasn't like passing the baton, it was almost like you gotta kind of pull it because you don't want to ever let it go. But I think part of life is allowing things to evolve and to sustain, because we all want these efforts to go on long after we're able to. So I saw a bunch of questions, but we don't have that shot. Who's got a really great question? Okay, Jan?
Darlene and I went to post Papua at 16. First one was Los Angeles. I remember there was a Art Deco club from Sacramento. And so, now, one thing is getting new people, but how about bringing academics not finding out what happened to the old societies. There was enough interest to have a society, maybe it's still, the embers are still there. Okay.
Still exists, and we still are in touch. And we have reached out to every organization that had ever been, as far as our records show, interested or involved for a year or two. And there's a major effort that Robin Rowe has undertaken to reach out to every society to say, well, what's around, we care about you, how can we help you, how can you join again? And so we're really actively trying to do that.
How do you reach out? I can't.
We can't do it.
How to reach out?
So basically on the internet just type artdeco.org and yeah, then open up a whole toolkit of information.
Or if you Google International Coalition of Art Deco Societies, it'll probably be the first result.
And also, we urge you all to, when you have events, please post them. It's very simple. Steve Knight has put together a very, very simple form on our website where you can easily post your events. So please do that. And also, Rita Shannon has been involved with a tool on our Facebook page, and we understand how important social media is. And that's the next area that we're going to be focused in on.
All right, so that concludes this. Let's thank them again. Thank you all for coming.